Right, hello, welcome back. First order of business, just want to apologise to the people of Cuba, Syria, Iran, North Korea for last week. Episode 2 was blocked in those countries, which is unfortunate because we hear Kim Jong-un is a really big fan. He really enjoyed the first episode. So that's unfortunate, but hopefully they'll be back this week.
Welcome back, all our North Korean, boys.
Yeah.
We'll feed you. Don't worry.
Nobody goes hungry in Gibbstown.
Everyone's overweight in Gibbstown.
Another thing we want to apologise for is the saw in the audio in the background of last week in John Paul's side. Do you want to explain what was going on?
The flooring has been put down in my brother's room. Dan would like to apologise, but I'm not going to apologise for it. So I think it added something to it. Added something to the episode, to be honest.
Like to take this opportunity to apologise to absolutely nobody.
Exactly.
Lovely.
It added to it.
Just good response to both episodes so far. We're kind of we've got fangs. I think we've impressed ourselves, haven't we?
Yeah, well, what can I say? It was written in the stars.
Or Titchy Strider, calm down.
You got that one wrong. You got that one wrong.
Oh no, it's Tiny Tempa.
Tiny Tempa.
I apologise.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
I'm disgusted with you. Disgusted.
Bollocks. Do you know what's even worse? I was picturing Tiny Tempa in my head as well. I just said Titchy Strider. Anyway, that's mistake one out of the way, right? We'll dive into the news.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Tonight's headlines: Meath County Council website crashes, riots as pennies reopen, vaccine scepticism, and Carlo man discovers magic tractor. In an unprecedented turn of events, Meath County Council website crashes as an international audience has tuned in to watch the switching on of the Christmas lights outside Navan Shopping Centre. Let's go to our reporter at the scene now.
Mickey, Gimmie and Margaret tuned in and fucked it up for Pauline and Barry and Nobber. The scroungy bastards.
Henry Street in Dublin was the scene of an outbreak of riots induced by Penneys reopening its doors after 6 weeks of level 5 lockdown. The retail store was the focus of every North Dubliner who raced to get their cheap pyjamas. Let's go to the scene now.
I'm here with Steve McCormick from Finglas. You'd get better clothes in IKEA's food section, you fat turkey culture. Ha 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 ha. Up Finglas. Up Celtic. Ha ha ha.
Pandemic news now.
Coronavirus.
And Pfizer has updated the world on a potential COVID-19 vaccine set to be with us in early 2021. The pharmaceutical giants have backed the safety of the vaccine, however many people are still sceptical of its validity. A local junkie has been chatting to our reporter where he said he won't be getting the coronavirus vaccine.
I'm here with the local junkie. Hey, I'm told if you take half now and the rest later it's all good. But fuck that, I'm not putting that in me mouth. Ha!
A man in Carlow has claimed to have stumbled upon a magic tractor. The Tullow native, known locally as Your Man, says he was driving behind a tractor and it suddenly disappeared, claiming, "Sure didn't it turn into a field?"
I'm here with Father Tom, whose life motto is farmer born and bred. Good on the farm, better in the bed. Here he is with more on this story. So of course it's a magic tractor. It turned into a field.
I bought myself a Blur alarm clock the other day. It works every day, except on Wednesdays when I get rudely awakened by the dustman. Let's face it, nobody said just eat. Right, cheers. First report of business this week is, of course, the one and only Late Late Toy Show.
Woo!
Enjoyable. Very enjoyable toy show this year.
The best ever.
Yeah, I'd agree. I would agree with that. And do you want to have a little shout out to your people on the toy show?
Oh yeah. My cousins were on the toy show. Yeah, all the way from Australia. Flying the Irish flag high, Crikey, mate. You know,
Did they
So
get?
fair
Did
play
they get
to
it?
them.
I was very surprised that there wasn't as much. There's one for everyone in the virtual audience. There wasn't as much as usual.
No, they were a bit tight this year, weren't they?
Yeah. To be fair, they did raise what, like 8 million.
Yeah, fair play to Ryan
Yeah.
Tuberty and the boys. I also just wanted to give a shout out to my auntie, who is indeed listening to this podcast on a weekly basis from Australia. So, hello, Neve. And that is the only time I will, give a shout out
Good day.
on the show, because, she gets to listen to my shite halfway across the world. How lucky is she?
Well, that's good. We've reached Australia. We are now in 2 continents, at least that we know of.
Yeah, we're laying down on the mic.
Oh no, 3. Kim Jong-un was listening to the first episode.
He was, yeah.
We got Asia as well.
He sent me a message there on the old, the old BlackBerry Messenger thing, majig, that joke.
BBM.
BPM. BPM does what it says in the
He
thing.
sent me a message on the beats per minute.
I was more thinking of the drink, lad. It'll keep you awake.
Oh yeah, true that. You're not a drummer.
But no, the Thai show, the Thai show was very good. I enjoyed it immensely. I thought it was good crack all around. The kids were very good on it. Some of the kids were hilarious. Some of them didn't look like they wanted to be there and didn't want to be asked any questions about anything. Especially the designated driver that drove us home from EP last year, who was on it. Shout out to him and his camping style and his camping methods and his, he could definitely get a job in Tara Mines.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Without a doubt. Like, he wasn't putting up with any of Tubbs. Like, he wasn't putting up with any of Tuberty's shit. Like,
Oh no.
taking out his axe and all. I'd kill that bird. That was one of the funniest couple of minutes of TV this year. I'll admit. Very good.
Brilliant.
It was.
Brilliant. I loved the three siblings from Calvin. They were very good. They were funny.
Brilliant with the flags, like, and the flags weren't even like they didn't like flow, or whatever they made.
No,
them
they
out
were
of.
just like it looked like a metal flag, like
a glockenspiel type of a job.
There was no waving in it. Yeah.
No.
What else?
And hopefully Cavan on Saturday will beat the Dubs.
Look, is it
Shout
likely?
out to the Cavan boys. Know a lot of Cavan people, and we'll be, cheering us on Saturday.
It's not very often a Mead man likes Cavan.
Look, we'll support each other when we're doing well.
Well, Cavan don't support Mead. No matter how well they're doing.
I'll have a fair chunk of my family now from Cavan, so
Fair sins.
be rude of me not to give it an old shout out. You wouldn't think it in me accent or anything like that. Like, I have a very neutral accent, I would like to think. But
Well, to be honest, like half my family are from Dublin, so
we won't talk about that. So
sure. Look, I don't think there's anything stopping them getting the 6 in a row anyway this year.
no, I don't think so either. But fuck the guy, I tell you for now. Let's talk about
just when we're on it, just before we leave. I was listening to Off the Ball the other day on News Talk, and it was very brilliant. They were saying that there is no joy in life when this Dublin football team exists. They said they've taken the joy out of every bit of football. They said it's not enjoyable to watch anymore.
Well,
I disagree.
I think I would disagree and agree with that in a kind of sense that they've created a brand of football that has never been seen before. They've the strongest team in history. But if you take Dublin out of the All-Ireland Championship, you would have a very open and very competitive championship year in, year out. Like,
Oh yeah.
That's a very valid point. I seen someone also put up, what was it? Just give Dublin Sam. We don't mind, like, and then have a competition between the rest of us. We don't mind. We just want a bit of competitiveness. But fair play to the Dubs. They're a great team. I'm not going to sit here as a Mead man and tell you she's a shit because she's not. But,
Anyway, back to the toy show. Back to the toy show.
Well,
What was your favourite bit?
My favourite bit was this girl she could have been from Cork, and she came out rocking an AC/DC, t-shirt and a cool jacket with pins on it. And she wasn't on the Tie Show 2 minutes before I seen Twitter explode, kind of, with my girlfriend getting, tagged and stuff, and if you had a child, this would be you, And I couldn't agree more. She was class, and also she had a big part in Fantagate as well.
Yeah.
So I think I enjoyed her immensely, her music taste and everything, and her answer to her, like when Tuberty says, "Oh, you have a great music taste." Of course I do. That's the answer. That's the answer you should give.
That's the answer you should always give. Yeah. I'd love to see her Spotify Wrapped.
AC/DC. Who knows? She might only know one song. Like,
you might get a Def Leppard song thrown in there or something, but
Def Leppard.
It's just
Led
Thunderstruck, Highway to Hell, Pour Some Sugar on Me, TNT. just
whole lot of Rosie
Def
or
Leppard
something,
throwing in there.
Mix it up a bit, or Miley Cyrus tune or something,
One of my, yeah, but no, it's like the Metallica version of Whiskey in a Jar. that's as close to the Irish version you're gonna
proper
get.
rock and roll,
I thought, to be honest, one of my favourite moments was with Dermot Kennedy. The look on that young fella's face was brilliant. It was priceless.
He shit himself, and why wouldn't he shit himself? Jesus, that happened. To anyone,
he's probably the best Irish artist out there at the minute. Realistically, like most successful.
Without a doubt, anyway. Miles ahead.
And when he came out, but you could see even Dermot Kennedy was impressed with him, and not only impressed, but you could see he was like moved by how a song that he's produced and sang and written has had an effect on that kid who lost his father a couple of years ago. Do you know?
Yeah, it was amazing.
That song means that much to him, and like Dermot Kennedy was able to do that and give that to somebody. Do you know?
Yeah, like I think, I didn't expect much when your man started singing, and then your man he opened up his voice and he sounded great.
It wasn't bad.
And fair play to him. It takes big cojones, to get up on national TV and be able to do what he did. And to be able to react the way he did when Dermot came out. And he continued on. And what I liked about Dermot Kennedy was he wasn't stealing the spotlight at all. He stopped singing and let him sing.
But he was even standing back, kind of letting your man go a bit, like.
Because it was his moment in the spotlight,
It was, It was a lovely touch.
It was. No, it was brilliant. And all the kids, the Saoirse, and I keep forgetting your man's name. The
Adam.
fella who wants to be Adam, the ground control man.
Yeah.
And I actually, I laughed at that moment when Tuberty started doing, ground control to Major Tom.
Yeah.
I was like, that child does not know who David Bowie is.
Yeah, that went straight over the poor kid's head.
Oh, he didn't have a fucking clue what was going on. I was like, no, like just.
But it's amazing to see the power that, like, hospital staff have. Like, he had his favourite hospital porter that helped him out, and you could see what it meant to him to be reunited with him. Do you know?
Exactly. No, and it was
to
great.
show how much of an impact these people
see.
get, and they might not get the recognition or the credit they deserve. Like,
they don't at all. And Adam's a great child, and I hope all these people who've reached out to him follow through with what they've said they'd do, and hopefully get him over to NASA.
Did you see that?
Should be great.
Did you see, what was his name? Captain Hadfield, I think it was.
Oh, Chris Hadfield, yeah.
Chris Hadfield, he replied to the Late Late Toy Show and said, look, if you want to talk space, we'll get in touch. Which would be great, and it'd be a lovely thing, the fact that it's gotten that far. And it's
he'd never forget that child, So, like, it'd be great to see it happen. Oh, I also want to pitch an idea for Christmas number 1. Rock and roll is the best medicine.
It is.
It is.
Did Pfizer ever consider that when they were thinking about the coronavirus vaccine?
Yeah, like get it to number 1. That fella from Loud, busting it out.
To be fair, the poor kid, I think he thought that he was on a live video call with the Edge when it first started. You could see him; he was itching to go. He was going to ask him questions and everything, and you could tell he was just like, "Oh, I think he copped it then." And he was like, "Oh no, this is pre-recorded," but it was still pretty cool. Like, to be fair, if I had gotten that guitar, I'd still be impressed now. Like, obviously you would. Like, but
what annoyed me about the guitar was, right, we were sitting there on the couch, right, and I was waiting for the guitar anyway, and I started reading, you know, the make of it and all that, and I was like, surely he had a few extra quid he could have, like, forked out on a Gibson for the chap, you know? Like, the guitar was probably only worth 250 quid, and he doesn't even pay tax, so, like, come on, like, you know?
Yeah.
And I'd say he caused a bit of a stir. Tuberty's saying he's one of the best guitarists in the world. You know, not that Tuberty's a guitar connoisseur, but he's a great guitarist, but Jesus, he's not in the top fucking... Wouldn't even be in the top 20 or 30 for me.
No,
but
I'd agree.
I reckon get it to number 1. Rock and roll is the best medicine. I forget your man's name. But, yeah, I think get it to number 1. Why not?
Why not?
Get a rock song at number 1, you know?
We'd start the petition now.
Yeah, I think get it going, lad. We could just even use, like, the 30 seconds you did on the Late Late as the number 1. Like, that'd be grand. We could just use that, like, you know? I think that'd work perfectly. And just have it on a loop, like, you know?
Just stick it over the top of, like, an AC/DC song. Grand.
Yeah.
Sword.
Yeah. I definitely think that. I think that'd work, you know? But can we get to the major talking point here, the last couple of days? Did he say bollocks or did he say fuck?
He said fuck. I'm convinced.
Yeah, like if I did that, right, if I was... First of all, I'd be more of a fan of Club Orange because they mix it up a bit, like, you know, you can get a Club Orange with the bits or without the bits. You know, Fanta doesn't really do that. You know, well, I haven't seen Fanta with bits now, right? But you get a Club Orange with bits, right? That's all I'm saying. You get a mixture in the shop, you know. You get a Rock Shandy in a Club Orange as well, which is just mind-boggling. But yeah, if I
Rock Shandy is god tier.
Oh, it's god tier. Oh, Jesus, and it's even better when you get in a public, you know. If you're not feeling well and you want a mineral, fuck your Lucozade. What you do is you get a pint glass. You pay the same amount for this as you do for a pint. Well, in mead you do. You pour it into your pint glass and it's just sit there. Just let it sit there and cool, you know. And it's fucking delicious. But
it is.
If I was in Tuberty's situation and it's happened to me before at the kitchen table and drink squirts out, I turn around and I'd be like, fuck, you know. So that'd be my response. What'd be your response, Dan? If you had done that at the kitchen table, would it be bollocks or fuck?
Oh, I don't know. Shit.
I don't think you'd curse. I think you'd be like, oh no, oh silly me. That'd be your response. What do you think?
No, I spilled fizzy orange on my trousers.
My grey ones
I don't know what
my
I do,
favourite.
I don't know what I do, but to be honest, I can't really blame Tuberty. Like, it's a bit.
I
like,
thought it added to it.
He's on. To be fair, yeah, no, he's on live TV. Probably the most pressure he's ever had presenting the Late Late Toy Show because of
with
how
no
big
audience
and important it was. Yeah, but no audience or not, like he knew this was going to be the biggest toy show they've ever had just because of the year we've had. And he made one mistake.
And everyone was going to be tuning in, you know. He did, yeah. And
I think, but
I'm
convinced when I was watching it, right? I am convinced one of the cameramen or somebody shook that bottle on purpose.
I'd say somebody was playing a horrible joke on him, like, you know.
Yeah, but obviously wasn't expecting him to go,
like,
oh fuck, or whatever he said. But you know, it kind of backfired on them as well. But
he went and he opened it up and like, sure, he wasn't expecting it and it just happened. And I found it hilarious. Like, I thought it was really funny, and I thought it added to it.
The best thing about it was he was just pure silent for about 10 seconds after it, and then just goes, right, and then kept going.
Stare into the camera as well.
And he just stared at the camera, and you're like, oh, like he knows he made a mistake there. He knows he fucked up.
Oh, I made a boo boo there. Oh no. He wouldn't even use the word fuck on his normal late show, like, you know, which kind of made it even more, like, you know, hilarious in my mind that he said it on a toy show.
Yeah, the one show.
Yeah. And I like Tuberty. I've always liked Tuberty. I think he's he's a great presenter.
I think he's better than Pat Kenny.
Oh jeez, that wouldn't be hard. watching the late Thai show back in them days, you'd have more crack in the morgue. You know, it felt like you were at a wake or something. Like, it was just not. No, it was rubbish. And Pat Kenny gave. I'm nearly sure. Yeah, it was Pat Kenny's last Thai show. He gave the Stripes the big break. So
He did.
he did something.
Was that Pat Kenny's last show?
Yeah, 2009. And Tuberty's been doing it since 2010.
Very
So
good.
10 years of the Thai show. And to be honest, he's done a great job. There hasn't been a bad year of it. And this is coming from a 22, soon to be 23, and a 23-year-old saying the Thai show was class. So you don't really grow out of it. But it was a great Thai show. Sad it's over, to be honest. But they did it more than once. You know, the magic of it wouldn't be there. But great show all round. Well done, Tuberty. Well done, the Irish. Up the Irish.
Fantastic. Up RT.
Oh, don't go that far.
Or no.
Just Tuberty.
We'll
just
take
Tuberty.
we'll take TPM side on this and say fuck RT.
Yeah. They have your money. And now he'll go and he'll disappoint me, and Dermot Bannon will be his fucking guest on the late this Friday.
He won't. He's still missing from last week.
Bollocks, yeah. Oh, I didn't think about that,
Still
lad.
missing. I haven't seen him on the telly in a week. What's going on?
I was told he built an invisible house, and he walked in and just hasn't been seen since. He can't get out of his own toilet.
He's still staring at
You
himself
know?
in the mirror.
He's still staring at himself. And he still can't see himself because he's invisible. What's next on the list of shit
Next
talk
on
this
the
week?
agenda, we are going to talk the differences between going to a mixed school and going to an all boys or girls school. I went to an all boys school. JP, you went to a mixed school. What would you say? What's your initial thoughts?
I think, you know, the all boys or the all girls schools, like from what I got anyway in sixth class, which I can remember from primary, was if you were going to an all boys or an all girls school, your parents sent you there because you wouldn't be distracted. You know, you wouldn't be distracted at all. But then, I believe, say an all boys school kind of becomes like the longest yard, you know. You
Oh,
find
it is.
lads dressing up like women, you know, and then you get desperate then. And you start flirting with these fellas who aren't really women, they're lads like yourself, you know. That's my initial thought of that. And all girls schools, yeah, they're the same kind of thing, you know. You'd have girls dressing up as lads, and you know. But yeah, I like the mixed school. I was never bored, you know. You could be having two boys kicking the shit out of each other in the corner, and you could have a bitch fight going on at the same time, which was fucking class.
And then you'd have people shifting in the middle.
Yeah, you would. You would indeed. We had an Irish teacher. God rest her soul now. She's gone. I don't even believe in God, but I just say it. But she'd let her lad know if she liked him. And this woman was in her 60s, you know, and she'd let all the boys that she fancied sit up the front, you know. And as well as it being, you know, you'd find it
there
funny,
was you,
but
there
it's a
was
bit
you,
creepy.
the tie choke at your neck in the front row at the teacher's desk.
I didn't get that, you know. I didn't get the chance to sit up the front for her classes, you know. She didn't like the long hair, you know. She was more into her, you know, short back and sides type of job, you know. But yeah, no, and I'd agree with the Tommy Tiernan kind of thing. Like, people who go to mixed schools, yeah, grand, but the non-mixed, I call them non-mixed. A lot of people go to like an all-boys school because that's where the bus stops, you know. That's the truth of the matter, you know. The best thing either one of us did in secondary school was grow, you know. That's just a common
I
fact.
think that's the only thing I did do.
Only thing, you were allowed
Yeah.
down the town at lunchtime. I wasn't down, you know, down into the village at lunchtime. There was only one shop, you know, within a 5-minute walk of my school. You know,
Well,
it was a free for all in
The best thing
yours.
about going downtown at lunch, right, was going to the Chinese, right? So it was, you'd walk down, right, and you'd place your order, and you'd be given a docket with a number on it, right, and you could feel the tension building as the numbers got higher and higher and higher and higher, and then you'd get to 66, and you could hear the lads go, oh, and then they start banging on the counter, oh, 67, oh, 68, and then the 69 comes out, and it's the biggest eruption you'll ever hear. I swear to God, it's like an All-Ireland final in the China Garden. It's incredible.
The closest you get to any activity, you know.
Oh, the
any
scenes.
Shifting, you know,
there's rice flying about the place. There's curry sauce everywhere. Incredible.
You used out a 4-1 in your hand, you know. Delighted with life. And then you get to the 70, and that chap will be just running late, knowing he won't make it back for the next period after lunch.
See, I used to be smart, right? I used to ring mine in. I when I was leaving school, right, I'd ring the China Garden and I get it ordered, and I'd ring it in as a collection order rather than a lunch, right? There's
no numbers
so
involved with you.
I'd go down, and if I swear to God, if you're in a poor devil who got 69 in the China Garden, God love you, you weren't, that wasn't leaving you for about a week.
Even though the Chinese would be out of you within the first 2 hours of consuming it.
Oh yeah. But I think there is advantages and disadvantages to both types of school, I think. Like,
I agree with you.
I don't know about you, but like, from my perspective, going to an all boys school, I find like there's just something about like it's not as prison like as everybody does think, like, you know.
No, I don't think so.
See, like, it is good crack, and for the majority of it, like, people are well behaved, you know. Like, but it's not as strict as people are on, like for people who don't know, like, I went to the same school that Tommy Tierney went to up until third year. So if you've ever heard him talking about his secondary school time in Navan, there you go. Like, and
fairly on the button.
He's not wrong with his one-way corridors, his principal walking out of the wall in his brick suit. Do you know, all of this is true. It does ring true. But no, like, to be honest with you, I really enjoyed my time in secondary school, and
I did too, equally. Yeah,
like,
loved it.
Going to an all lads school, like, it's great, especially like I'd be very sporty and I'd be into my music, so I kind of had both those outlets, do you know, which in the vast majority of it was kind of two different groups within the school, you know. You
had Latin as well.
Well, I didn't do it, yeah, but
you could learn Latin in St. Pat's. You know, it's a carpe diem. It's a classical school, so you could learn, you know, classical studies, which would include Latin.
Well,
not mad.
Well, not anymore, unfortunately. Not anymore. It's still considered a classical
so
school, but they
lying.
don't teach it anymore. My year
it's
my
a
year was the last
false
year.
advertisement. False advertising.
No, it's not. No. They still have the capabilities of teaching Latin. That's what it is.
But they just don't bother the whole.
No, because I'm pretty sure my leaving cert year there was 4 people in the Latin class, and then nobody was coming through in 5th year. So like, well, there's no point.
Fuck it, leave it at that.
So when we were going in, we had a choice in first year. Before you even got to first year, right? You had a choice of 2. You picked, what was it? Art, woodwork, Latin, and music. So I obviously picked music. But yeah, like, it was. Fella. But yeah, like, it was. It was good. It's different. Like, I can imagine how different the kind of like day-to-day banter would have been in a mixed school compared to the lad school. Do you know, like?
Oh yeah, not.
I don't know.
We like great crack and Nobber High. You know, Nobber's a great school. But yeah, I go crack. Like, you're talking about that though. I did home ec in woodwork for me junior cert. I was the only lad in the home ec class, which was kind of intimidating. But then you still are living in a stereotypical kind of world. But even back a few years, it was even more stereotypical. Like 10 years ago, I was sitting in a home ec class. Oh, that fella can't cook. I couldn't cook anyway. That's why I took up home ec, to learn how to cook. Wasn't to do well or anything, you know. I still burn toast, you know. Still don't know how to use the oven. But it was like that. I did awful in home ec. Still managed to pull out a C. Woohoo! But yeah, like stuff like that. There's different subjects involved, of course, in a mixed school to a, you know, an all boys or an all girls, which I think is the only real difference. To be honest, I don't think there's much more in the difference. Like,
but to be honest with you, like, I would have loved the option to have done home ec. I think I would have done it. Like, I would have enjoyed it.
But see, it's the stereotypical nature of like an all boys school, so there'll be no lads who want to cook. That kind of fucking way.
Which is bollocks. It is.
It is bollocks. It's complete bollocks. Like now, looking at it now, right? Who would have done it? If I was asked to do, say, if we were asked now to do a course in junior cert home ec, we'd probably go and do it for the crack, you know.
Oh yeah,
knowing how to cook certain things, you know.
I'd enjoy it.
Yeah, be a bit of fun, like. But like back then, you know, you're the wee hard men coming in first year, you know, and you're a fairy if you pick fucking home ec. It's still like that. It is still very like that, you know. And you'd boys going in doing home ec who were in the other class. You'd Norbert footballer actually. He picked home ec and his football team laughed at him. You know, the underage he was at, under 13s, 14s, they laughed at him. You know, so there's still a bit of that. But overall, I enjoyed my time in secondary school. I enjoyed it so much, like, that I was that much of a goody two-shoe. 2 weeks before I was finished, I decided, right, because in 6th year you could just sign yourself out, you know. You didn't give a fuck. If you didn't want to do the leaving, you didn't want to do the leaving. So one day I decided, along with my brother in 5th year, we decided to sign ourselves out. So we signed ourselves out, no bother. We went mitching for the afternoon. Hopped in the car anyway, no bother. Driving down the road, there's not a bother on us so far. We get to a place called Scanlon's, which is a pub, a thatched pub, in a place called Kilberry. And who's pulling out of the crossroads? Only me father, in his big white van. And so we didn't fucking notice him. And so we were going over to the sound shop in Drogheda, the music shop, to buy some, you know, materials. Or the window shop, more so. We were driving up by Slane Castle, and we had bollocks in the back of the car, and he goes, "That looks like your dad's van." So I looked in the mirror. Looks like me dad's van, because that is me dad's van. You know? So that was probably one of the funniest experiences ever. Going mitching the one day we did, and getting caught rapid. Very
The worst
rapid.
I ever got caught in school was one day at lunch. We were walking downtown. I think this was in 6th year. Me being the hard boy, you know, I'm going to smoke at lunch. But, so
Tough man.
walking downtown anyway, right? Just having my rollie, grand. Now, don't mind me, I wasn't the only one doing this, right? There was about 4 or 5 of us. And walking down, just before we get to the Chinese, what's standing in the middle of the road? The fucking RTE cameramen. There was about 3 cameras, and nationwide was being filmed. And there's us walking through the background, smoking away. And we got, I'm telling you.
That just felt hard then.
But the worst thing about it was, right, the next day we were walking downtown, and who's standing at the gate but Principal Colin O'Rourke, standing at the gate, and he was like, now lads, I was watching Nationwide last night, I hope you were watching. And we were like, what? And he explained it to us and brought us into the office and showed us an RTE player, and we were mortified. Oh, it was a disaster.
Oh God, nothing worse than getting caught on TV.
Disaster. Absolute disaster. Like, you couldn't even try to play it off and be like, no, it wasn't me. Like, it clearly was. You're on RTE player on the telly.
You could fucking tell.
You
felt hard lighting it up.
I was like, oh jeez.
You felt hard lighting it up, and you didn't feel so hard at Helly in his office the next day. I think we should.
It's alright. He's a Simon Style man, and so am I. So
you got lucky there. I tell you got on a lucky one there. I think.
But my grandmother worked in the school as well, so I had a lot of things to throw back at him. I'd be like, well, hang on a minute now. Do you remember this? So we're alright. Can pull a few strings.
I think, Daniel, we should try a social experiment. Us two. When the time is right. I think you should spend a day in Nobber. In a mixed school. Full attire, full uniform, the whole lot. Right? You're entering 6th year again. Right? Whereas I will go into St. Pat's.
Repeating the leaving.
Repeating the leaving, right? But we're not actually repeating the leaving.
You're not allowed anywhere near a school.
Huh?
You're not allowed anywhere near a school.
No, that's rude. That's rude. That's very rude. So it is. You should be ashamed of yourself for a remark like that.
I'm only messing, of course.
I'll get you. His hard man stature coming out across my fucking computer screen.
So you're sitting there in your Man United jersey and your boxers, thinking nobody can see you.
I'm actually I'm in ripped shorts. They're fashionable now, I've been told.
Ripped
even at
they wore
Christmas
trousers,
time.
were they?
Me dog's got them. I love you though. But I think we should definitely do that. I think that'd be a good social experiment.
It'd be a good social experiment, fly on the wall kind of thing.
Yeah, you give a shout out to Mr. Rogers in Nobber, and I'll give a shout out to Mr. O'Rourke in. Is he still there? Actually,
he is.
He's still going. Jeez, fair play to him. Fair play to him.
He's like Kim Jong-un there. It's like a dictatorship going on in Avon.
But I don't think one's better than the other. I think they're both just as good. Depends on your opinion.
Exactly.
At the end of the day.
So don't feel a disadvantage.
No. Like, yeah, I enjoyed my time in Nobber. Daniel enjoyed his time in Pat's, other than getting caught smoking on national TV and getting brought in to the principal's office. But other than that, he had a fine time.
But apart from that, we had a good time.
We did.
Right. Final order of business. We move on to our serious topic of the week. Right, so our serious topic this week is Alzheimer's. Just going to talk a bit about the Alzheimer's Society, fundraising that goes on, a couple of people that are affected by it, and yeah, this horrible thing. So, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's a disease that is kind of swept under the carpet and kind of made fun of a lot of the time. People get the misconception that it's just elderly people who get it. But I know from my mother, who works in a nursing home, that it's not just young people, not just old people who get it. That there is people in their 40s and 50s that get early onset Alzheimer's or dementia. And the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland do a lot of work. There's an Alzheimer's hub in Navan as well, local to me, that I know a good bit about, because my dad does a lot of fundraising with his bike club every year. They do a run from Allen to Mizzen, so I'd know a lot of information on it. But it's a vicious disease, and there's not enough kind of awareness been brought around. Like, everyone knows someone with Alzheimer's. Everyone knows someone that has died of Alzheimer's. The same way you'd kind of know, to say, oh, you know someone with cancer, you know someone who's died of suicide, like, it's the same with Alzheimer's. It's a horrible disease.
Yeah, all these things touch people in a certain way. They all kind of find a way of coming back to like, everybody knows somebody with something, and then it all kind of links together nearly, so there's not one thing that's worse than another.
Exactly. Oh yeah, no, everything, like anything, any disease, anything like that, which all them three are, is awful. But the thing with Alzheimer's is there's no cure for Alzheimer's. Where there could be a cure, for certain kinds of cancer and stuff like that, and there's help. There is help available for people suffering with depression. But at this moment in time, there is no cure for Alzheimer's or dementia. It's a disease that kind of, it wears your way through the years. You're not going to be the same person you were before you got it,
It's just slowly eats away at you. And it just it gradually gets worse, like it never gets better,
No.
So each day is basically better than the next,
Exactly.
You take.
You take each day as it comes. I've a relative of mine that was always up and about, and he's not really able to walk anymore, and he doesn't really, he's starting to forget people's names and stuff, and it's not nice to see. So I think people should, be generous kind of sometimes, and think about these people. They are human beings, and they're not all just elderly people.
Yeah.
There is young people with it.
Yeah.
I know there is, and hopefully there'll be a cure for Alzheimer's down the line. But the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland are a great charity. They do great work. They're trying to fund, more research into good, ways of treating it and all that. So, pull a bus for them,
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of people that are like in the public eye. Like, I saw recently that Tony Cascarino came out and was talking about dementia and Alzheimer's, and he was talking about like how it's going to affect him in the future because he has developed it, and it's in its early stages, but he knows it's going to develop, and he knows it's going to get worse. And you have Jack Charlton, who sadly passed away. His brother has it as well. Like, it's sad to see these so many like public figures getting it as well. Like, obviously it's not great to see anybody getting it, but public figures especially, like, you're gonna see slowly the downfall of it and the bad sides of it as time goes on.
Like, I'll end it on this note. It's not going to be totally sad, but I watched the new Jack Charlton documentary, and he was a hero in this country, and still to this day. Me and Dan were not born when Jack Charlton was around, but he had an everlasting impact on everyone.
An honorary Irish man.
That's exactly it. And I watched that documentary, and it was sad. He could not remember. His wife, Pat, was telling him about, letters that people were sending him from Ireland and all this, and they still love him and all that. He was like, why would they love me in Ireland and all this? He couldn't remember it.
Yeah.
And
sad,
he got up. It's sad, but at the end of the film, they got a video up after they were knocked out of the World Cup in 1990 at a hotel, and Paul McGrath came up on the screen, and he turned and says, "Oh, there's my Paul McGrath."
Lovely.
So he was remembering bits and pieces, and it was sad, but it was great to see that, there was still something still there,
Yeah, like,
but
there's still little memories there.
Exactly, but that's down to the people who, are closest to the person with it, and just, it's hard, it's tough, but you need to keep the memories alive, and that's Alzheimer's for you. So, if you want to look into it more, look up, the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland, and donate if you can. They're doing great research and everything into different, new ways of treating it, and hopefully there'll be a cure for it, in the future.
And I'm sure there's a lot of fundraisers that go on constantly as well. Like, if you can get involved, do. If you can donate, do. We're not just saying just this charity, any charity really, but just this week we decided to just focus on this. So yeah,
because I don't think it's highlighted as much as maybe like all charities need to be highlighted, but I don't think the Alzheimer's end of things is really highlighted enough, and everyone, as much as other illnesses and stuff like that, affects every family. Like, suppose I could be biased, maybe it affected one whole side of my family, and it has done with a lot of families, but it has to be talked about more. And considering that Jackie Charlton, an adopted Irish hero, died this year from Alzheimer's as a direct result of getting Alzheimer's, I think there needs to be more talk about it, and hopefully there will be a cure. But sure, till next week, me, Daniel.
Yeah, till next week. Do you have any shame?
Christmas
do you have any shame? Because I don't know any shame. Do you know shame? I don't know no shame, but I do know Mandinka. Right. On that note, right. Cheers. Check out the socials.
Go on, Sinead.
Keep in touch. Share with your friends. Right. All right. All the best. Good luck. Bye. 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 Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye bye.